Hello everybody, the Warriors are your 2022 NBA champions. Not gonna lie, the Celtics came out with an amazing 14-2 run. It looked like it was going to be a blowout and it was going to come back to chase for Game 7 where anything can happen. And then the Warriors peeled off a 21-0 run, which had not been done in the last 50 finals. By the way, can you tell what play they're calling? Jordan Poole holding up a fist. Steph Curry also holds up a fist. The fist play is the Klay play. Always starts off with a pin down. Someone comes up to set a screen, and then whoever sets the pin down here gets a pin and screen himself. Jaylen Brown does not want Steph to take this pin and screen, so he just grabs him, and in fact he kind of puts his shoulder into Steph's face. Meanwhile, Wiggins had set the screen and immediately slipped. Wiggins decides he wants to ISO Payton Pritchard, so he gives a little nod to Gary Payton II, telling him to clear out and get rid of this pesky defender. But even though GP2 has cleared all the way out, his pesky defender says, I don't really feel like following you. I'm not scared of you as a shooter. I'd rather be goalie back here in case Wiggins blows by Mr. Pritchard. And so Wiggins starts making his move and he says, who's the open man? He reads it nice and fast. One move, whips it over to GP2 open in the corner. Pretty confident shot considering that his release is a bit slow, and this is Robert Williams, who's an incredible shot blocker. But the most important thing is the shot does get over Williams. Even though it's a dying quail of a shot, the shooter sometimes has an advantage because they know that they just threw up a dead bird shot. And so GP2 immediately follows this shot. Tatum is boxing out Looney very nicely, but unfortunately GP2 is right here for the rebound, and Pritchard has come all the way in, but GP2 is not real afraid of either one of them as shot blockers. The second this putback happens, Jaylen Brown over here realizes, GP2 is over here, Wiggins is over here, let's get revenge by getting Steph Curry or Jordan Poole to guard me. So he's just going to take off down court. GP2 calls out that he needs someone to pick up Jaylen Brown, so Steph gets him. They're going to eventually want this post up, but they waste a lot of time getting it over there. Jaylen Brown posting up Steph Curry. Steph does a pretty good job just resisting the strength, and Kevon Looney screams in from outside Jaylen Brown's vision to double team him. There are two Celtics open here, but it's hard for Brown to see. He does his best to pivot and try to find the open man, and the best he can do is see Pritchard over here cutting to open space, but unfortunately he launches this pass into orbit. The Warriors get Robert Williams in the pick and roll here, trying to pull him up high. Gary Payton II setting this flat screen to make it easier for Steph to get going north-south. Steph does get past this defender. Williams has to step up, but Steph decides to blow by. Williams hangs with Steph through hesitation. Jason Tatum does not trust, and he steps into the lane to deter Steph from driving along here. Robert Williams, Time Lord, is right next to Steph here, and he's pretty threatening at the rim. But Tatum feels like, I don't have to guard Draymond in the corner here. He can't hit threes, and we'd like to pay him cash money to shoot the three right now. Steph accepts the double, and Draymond says, show me the money. And when Draymond hits a three against you, that probably feels like he hit a 6. Jason Tatum ISOing GP2, trying to force him to dribble left, but Tatum doesn't really want to dribble left. He bullies his way towards the right. Jordan Poole stunts in all the way in from the arc, leaving Payton Pritchard by himself. No respect from Poole. He says, if you want to kick out to Pritchard and see if he can hit an open three, this is a second-year guy in the finals, barely played, go for it. And Tatum says, I refuse to go for it. Picks up his dribble and sees Draymond right here, Poole swiping in, and Derek White over here looking pretty open, so he makes a right basketball play. Derek White finally came down to earth. He was shooting insanely well in the first few games of this series, but he could not buy a bucket today. And here's Steph closing out. That has a crazy bounce out. Pritchard going for it, Tatum going for it, but Steph having a little more hustle in his tank right now. I don't know how tired Tatum was from all the games he's been playing, but Steph just straight beats him to the ball. This is a 3-on-2 if Steph can make it happen. He doesn't see that Poole is relocated for an open corner 3. So Steph has to bail out of this drive. GP2, good awareness here. Steph runs around GP2. GP2 is serving as a virtual screen. Pritchard does a pretty good job navigating this, but that one step out of the way gives Steph just the half second he needs to fire up this shot. Here's Tatum with the screen to try to force Steph to switch on to him. Steph says, I accept the challenge, fronting him. So Tatum has to reposition to let the pass come to him. And Boston did so much maneuvering to get this matchup that there's 7 on the shot clock. Tatum's all the way out here on the arc. Even if he gets by Steph, we've got Poole pinched in off of Pritchard. We've Wiggins stepped back, ready to swipe. Draymond back here. GP2 is not in position to help, but he's definitely sending, bad vibes to Jason Tatum. So Tatum just bails out. You want Tatum to at least get by Steph and maybe go for a mid-range or something, or compromise the defense in some way. Because right now there's 0 advantage for everyone, and he's just chucked this hand grenade to Derek White, who, as I've mentioned, could not throw the ball in the ocean today. Wiggins says, where are you going, eh? And this show of politeness surprises Derek White so much that I think he just loses the ball on the way up. Robert Williams here to soar up for this rebound in a forest of smaller Warriors. He's got it, and he's about to dunk on everyone's head, right? Well, he made the mistake of bringing the ball down here where humans could reach it, and Gary Payton II says, oh, I believe you have my property, and just grabs it from Williams. Quick high pick and roll for Jordan Poole. Draymond takes out Poole's defender. Robert Williams is in a slight drop over here, which gives Poole a certain amount of room. Poole takes a step in, which makes Williams step back, and Poole says, maybe I better shoot this while the shooting is good. I don't think he called bank, but it still counts in the NBA. The Warriors were committed to running their motion offense a lot more in games 5 and 6. This is a 3-man split cut that starts with feeding the post. 2 players up here, 1 cuts to the basket, and then 1 comes over here for a normal split cut. Wiggins is the one who cuts, but he's impeded by Pritchard. So Poole takes this screen. Grant Williams does a pretty good job of navigating the screen. Poole immediately flows this into another split cut, and then now it's just a 2-person split cut. Tatum fouls Draymond. This play ends up just turning into an ISO of Wiggins on Grant Williams. Because of the way that Wiggins is curling to get this, Williams has to close out slightly hard, which means Wiggins can attack the closeout. Williams does a good job of staying with Wiggins and makes this shot hard. Draymond with the hustle here. This is maybe his first really dominant game in the finals. He smacks it out in a perfect parabola to Jordan Poole. And Jordan Poole sees that there's 5 on the shot clock. Boston also seemed intent on running more of their motion offense, seeing as all of the Tatum, Smart, and Brown isolations were not going too well. But here we have a feed to Horford in a high passing slot. Tatum and Derek White go towards each other, and White ends up screening Draymond. This is definitely a moving screen, but most screens in the NBA are moving nowadays. But White definitely nails Draymond. This is going to spring Jason Tatum free to go to the basket, and Draymond yells, emergency, emergency, and he points, I need a switch, and GP2 switches beautifully, because if he doesn't switch, then Tatum is free in the middle here, the pass comes over, and then Tatum probably does a highlight dunk on Jordan Poole's head. There's a call for the switch, but GP2 didn't need Draymond's call. That saved half a second on the switch. Derek White nicely releases the screen as well, which gets Draymond behind him. White, he's got to go fast because Draymond is trailing. Jordan Poole has come all the way in to tag Jason Tatum. GP2 is over here. If Derek White could have this back, maybe he would pass it to Pritchard here, who's got his own quadrant of the parquet floor to himself. But instead, White goes for the hero play. Jordan Poole meets him, and he cannot finish. This is a 4-on-3. Most importantly, Andrew Wiggins is free and ahead, which means Horford needs to pick him up, but nobody's really getting in front of Klay either. Horford does not trust that Pritchard is going to come over here to catch Klay, so he just stays here, which means Wiggins is completely free to go to the basket. Good bounce pass from Klay. After timeout to settle things down, Boston runs a great little play. This is a pick and roll. Horford sets the screen. Klay steps up to contain Tatum's drive, and Wiggins and Klay now have to negotiate who's going to cover Tatum. And while this is happening, Horford, who just set the screen, immediately comes up and sets this down screen for Jaylen Brown. Here's Wiggins trying to recover to Horford, but Horford's already screening GP2, so GP2 has to fight his way through. This is an open three, and he clanks it. There's a real scramble for this rebound. Poole has gotten boxed out. Wiggins has maybe a little bit of inside position on Horford. Wiggins goes up with one arm and tries to one-arm cradle this ball, but it squirts free. It felt like the Warriors won most of the 50-50 balls. That Klay and Brown are about the same distance from this. Klay cleanly beats Brown to the ball, and then there's a kind of scary tumble into Klay's legs. Poole calls Draymond up for a quick pick and roll. Pretty flat screen. Poole attacks. Horford stepping up closer to the level of the screen, but still dropped back. Poole goes for the side step. He is fated to miss the shot, but Horford is up in his face, and Brown is challenging from behind, so Draymond has a clean shot to fight for this rebound with Marcus Smart. Draymond just straight beats Marcus to the rebound. Jordan Poole, he has zero conscience on offensive rebounds, feeling like it's God's way of saying, hey, take a shot. GP2's superpower is stealing the ball. He is trying to shade Brown to go to his weaker left hand. GP2 just sticks his hand in and just ejects this ball. Ball comes flying out. Both Marcus Smart and Al Horford end up covering Jordan Poole, and that leaves Andrew Wiggins free on the backside. Poole drives to make sure that Horford comes to him, and then whips a beautiful pass to Wiggins, who throws down yelling, "Fries are part of the poutine, eh?" That's how you turn a 12-point deficit into a 6-point deficit into a 15-point lead. What a counterpunch. And the Warriors never gave up this lead. And even though it got into some nervous times, to be honest, the game never really got close. I can't help talking about one last play. 3 minutes to go, the Warriors looking for the knockout punch. Here's Steph being guarded by Marcus Smart. I know it looks like an Godzilla-sized Steph Curry is about to kick Steph Curry in the butt. That's an optical illusion, but Steph is going to give a little push off to Marcus Smart to come get the ball. And it does look like he might make contact with Marcus Smart's family jewels, which is not a good feeling for the owner of the jewels to have. And you can see Marcus Smart doubles over in the traditional pose of a whacked jewel owner. But the problem with Marcus Smart is that he flops so much. He falls to the ground fakely a lot, and he's the boy who cried wolf, and in fact wrote a book called I'm the Boy Who Cried Wolf, and then bought theboywhocriedwolf.com URL. So sometimes referees just don't believe him. Steph gets the ball. He's quite by himself because his defender is either having an unpleasant day or is faking an unpleasant day. And Horford does his best to try to contest this, but Steph lets him go by. Bang. We can do some celebration audit here. Okay, so Steph has just shot the ball. The ball's still here, so we're not even at the top. On the Warriors bench, we've got threes here. I think that's Juan Toscano-Anderson holding up a three. Jordan Poole holding up these. That is solid premature celebration game. Here's more celebration. Here's Moses Moody doing his Angry Man celebrations. Chris Chioza, I don't know, is he doing the robot here? Looks cool. Otto Porter Jr. is just giving us straight up fist pumping. Damian Lee showing a very elite version of the 3-point celebration. He's got his fingers in this position, which is like from physics, it's the left hand rule. And Jordan Poole got the hands together saying, I have determined from my analysis that it is night time for this game and this season. And then he sees something across the court and he points, and he's pointing at Steph saying, wait a second, I see you have done your own independent audit about whether it is bedtime and you have come to the same conclusions I have. Thank you all for being with me through a really special season. I'm gonna still make videos over the summer. I plan to do some retro explain movies about classic games like, you know, the Bang Bang game and Clay's 37 and things like that. Just games that it's nice to have a definitive record. Maybe people have ideas for what kind of videos that that might be interesting to see. Thanks for going on this wonderful journey with me. Let's run it back again.